Parashat Lekh is a fascinating parsha which focuses primarily on Avraham Avinu. And Avraham Avinu is many things. He's known as an Ish Chesed, and that's how we think of him in our consciousness. But in fact, I think the more proper designation for Avraham Avinu is an Ish Emunah. He was a man of faith. Emunah is everything about Avraham Avinu. Hashem told Avraham Avinu, Lekh Lekha me'artzecha u'mimoladetecha. Go on this journey. He had no idea where he was going. Abraham went. Abraham, of course, was the first one to discover and reveal Hashem to the world. Hashem told Abraham to take his son, Akedat Yitzchak. What an act of faith that was. Throughout Avraham Avinu's life, his life from point A to point B was constantly about emunah. And in fact, Avraham Avinu is actually referred to in the Torah explicitly as a believer, as a ma'amin. The pasuk tells us in this week's Sedra that that Abraham was concerned that perhaps he had used up all of his zechuyot, all of his credits and all of his merits, and he was concerned about his future. And Hashem said to him, "Don't worry. Achar advarim ha'ela, hayad var Hashem el Avram." God spoke to Abraham and he said to him, "Al tira, don't worry, Abraham. Anochi mageh lach. I will protect you. You have plenty of zechuyot. You have nothing to be worried of." And Avraham Avinu says to Hashem, "What am I concerned about? What am I worried about? The only thing that I really want is to have a child, as you promised to me, who will inherit me in the future." And Hashem says to Abraham, "Fear not." He took him outside. Famously, Hashem says to Abraham, "Look up to the heavens, habet nashamayma. Can you count the stars?" Stars, he asks rhetorically. The answer is, of course, no. And this is how many children, how many of your offspring we will ultimately become. And Avraham Avinu's response to this statement of Hashem is v'ha'amin b'Hashem. He had faith, emunah in Hashem. Avraham Avinu is referred to as a believer, a ma'amin. And what is the next three words of the pasuk? Perhaps the three most ambiguous words in the Torah. Pasuk says, "Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah." Avraham Avinu was a believer, hamin. Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah. What does that mean? Each one of those words is hard to explain. Rashi says, "Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah." Vayachshaveh means, and he considered it, tzedakah, as some type of act of righteousness. Who's doing the considering, and what is the act of righteousness? Rashi explains, Hashem considered Avraham Avinu's act of emunah, of faith, as an extraordinary act of tzidkus, of righteousness. And that is what the pasuk means. Avraham Avinu believed, and Hashem saw it as an extraordinary act of righteousness. Then the Ramban asks a question. He says, who are we dealing with here? We're not dealing with a person who never heard of God. We're not dealing here about a person who is skeptical, who sort of half believed, half didn't believe. We're talking about the person, Avraham Avinu, who himself brought consciousness of God to the world. This is a person who Hashem said, Lekh Lekha, he went. This is a person that when Hashem told him, take your son, Kachad, Binchad, Yechidcha, and bring him and kill him, sacrifice him upon an altar, Avraham Avinu did not blink. And so the Ramban says, why does the Torah have to tell us? If your explanation, Rashi, is correct, it seems entirely superfluous. Avraham Avinu was a believer. Avraham Avinu did an act of righteousness. Who are we talking about here? This was entirely expected from Avraham Avinu. Why would you say Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah means Hashem considered Abraham's act of emunah as a great act of righteousness? And therefore the Ramban offers his own approach. And the Ramban says, no, we understood it wrong. Vayachshaveh does not mean what Hashem considered about Abraham, but rather it is what Abraham considered about Hashem. Ha'amin b'Hashem, Avraham Avinu had faith in God, and then Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah, he understood that God's promise to him, to Avraham Avinu, was an act of great righteousness. That I, Avraham Avinu, perhaps do not deserve any of this. And perhaps could wonder, maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't, based on my own zechuyot. But no, Now I understand, Avraham Avinu says to himself, "Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah," that he understood, he considered Hashem's promise to him now as tzedakah, as a pure act of righteousness, of justice, a promise that could not be undone. And for that, he was extraordinarily grateful. So Rashi understands Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah one way. The Ramban understands Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah another way. Each one understands tzedakah as someone's righteousness, Abraham's righteousness, or Hashem's righteousness. The Bnei Yisachar, writing a Hasidic Kabbalistic work, suggests the following. The word tzedakah, most ordinarily understood in the Torah, does not mean charity, but it means justice. But, says the Bnei Yisachar, in this case, the word tzedakah should be understood as the way we use it, charity. How so? Ve'emin b'Hashem, Avraham Avinu had faith in God. Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah, God considered this act of faith as tzedakah, as charity. How so? Where is the charity here? Where is the tzedakah here? Explains the Bnei Yisachar that every act of charity, to be considered charity, I have to dig into my pocket, take something out of my pocket, and give it to you. Give it to another person. That is tzedakah. If you give me your wallet to hold, and then you ask for it back, and I return it to you, that is not tzedakah. I'm simply returning something that already belongs to you. Says the Bnei Yisachar, that is exactly how we should understand Avraham Avinu's emunah. Emunah is the only thing that we can give God that He does not already have. Now there are two ways that a person can have faith in God. We can have faith based on reason, or faith beyond reason. If my faith is based in reason, in my intellect, in my rational thinking, and I come to an intellectual conclusion that God exists, that's not faith, says the Bnei Yisachar. Because Hashem is the one who gives me my intellect. And therefore, if I have faith based on my intellect, all I've done is given God back what He gave to me already. Some of us are smarter, some of us are less so. Some of us are thinkers, some of us are less so. Some of us are philosophers, some of us are less so. Whatever we have to reason our understanding of Hashem, that is just God, what God gave to me. And if that is the basis of my faith, then I'm just giving God back what He gave to me. That is not tzedakah. Emunah says that is not emunah. What is emunah? Emunah is when I believe in God despite reason, or maybe against reason, or irrelevant of reason. My faith in Hashem is not because I've reasoned God to be so. My faith in Hashem is simply because I believe, based on a received tradition, that there is a Ribono Shel Olam, there is Borei Olam. And that is true emunah. It is beyond reason, beyond intellect. And that, Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah, that God considered a great act of tzedakah. Why is it tzedakah? Because it is the only thing that we can give of ourselves to Hashem. Everything else that we have, that is something that God gave us. God gave me the money, I used it for tzedakah. God gave me hands, I used it to put on tefillin. God gave me eyes, I used them to read Torah. God gave me an intellect, and I used it to reason His existence. But emunah, that's mine. That's entirely mine. And when I reach into my heart and soul, and I declare my faith to the Ribono Shel Olam, that is tzedakah. Vayachshaveh lo tzedakah. Avraham Avinu was a great man of faith. He was an ish emunah. And may HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us each the opportunity, the ability, not only to have faith in Hashem based in reason, but true emunah based as tzedakah. Shabbat Shalom.